Hello everyone and welcome back to Travel Tales by Siri. This video is a continuation of the previous one where we started a 2-day trek with an overnight stay in a riverside village in northern Laos. By the time I was up, everybody was up already and they'd started cooking. I checked the time, it was about 6 o'clock, and I decided to just walk into the village and see what everyone else was up to. I really enjoyed waking up there. The facilities were really basic, but there was, I think, just the exhaustion from the previous day didn't matter. Like, I just slept like a baby, and then waking up naturally and to the sound of the cock crowing, that was also really special. I do have a confession to make. The facilities to wash up were pretty basic, and it was just not something I was used to, and I wasn't comfortable. So basically there's no tap or any kind of plumbing system. It's basically just a concrete container that they've built, and then they bring water from the river just by the village, and that's it. And obviously over time there's moss and stuff that's built up in the container, so that's how they work. That's what they shared with me, but because I was gonna go back to a modern hotel later in the day, I decided to just pass on hygiene for the morning. So as I was just standing there, I observed people had started to go to work, but 6 or just after 6 didn't seem to be like rush hour. There was only like a handful of people that started going to the farms to work. And I would also spend some time sort of debating on whether I should just stay back in the village and not do the trek for the day, just because the previous day was very challenging. So after much debate, I thought, well, I'm here now, so I may as well just participate. So I made up my mind to stick to the program. So the village also had a second homestay, and if you recall from the previous episode, there was another group that joined us on the same trek, on the same route. So this is the owner of that second homestay, and he already had like teas and coffees ready for his group. So yeah, now it's really rush hour. So between 6:30 and 7, everyone's now going to work, and also they have breakfast with them. So it's like a takeaway breakfast, and everyone, without exception, had sticky rice, and it's just an on-the-go thing. Because I was the first one to go to bed, obviously I was the first one to wake up. The rest of the group was still sort of sleeping, and I was just sat there in the common area taking the views and just enjoying the sounds of nature. The owner of the homestay also is a farmer as well, and I asked him why he wasn't going to the farm, and he said, well, he goes 4 days a week, and because he's got the side gig and he's got the gas, he's helping his wife, and so that's why he was here. So that's the owner there. He could be making something really useful because literally 90% of things that they have in their homes and they use, they make themselves. Oh, what a beautiful work environment that is, though. So while her husband was busy making something, the mama of the house offered me some coffee. Lao traditional coffee can be had in a number of ways. I chose to have mine black with a little bit of sugar. Coffee is very, very, very strong and has a very unique flavor. And then the mama of the house was preparing breakfast for us, and it was rice with coconut, sugar, and banana. It was like a porridge. So they only use for their main cooking, they use a wood fire. A gas stove is totally unheard of, certainly in the villages and the small towns, totally unheard of in Laos. So we had porridge with the rest of the group, and of course, again, portions were generous, and they kept asking us if we wanted seconds and thirds. And after that, we got given a bottle of water, and we were ready to go. So day two started with a boat ride to another village across the river from where we were, and from there we were going to go and trek and a slight hike up to a waterfall. I think it was called Tadmok. The waterfall was called Tadmok. Yeah, so then we started the trek, and it was a lot easier than the previous day. First of all, the sunboard was merciful. The sun was really, really moderate, so it wasn't getting blasted and burnt by the sun. Secondly, the terrain was a lot easier, so the walk was far more enjoyable than the previous day. Again, and this one was like, say, 90% through rice paddies until we entered sort of the start of the waterfall. So a buffalo was relaxing on the way. There's quite a lot of buffaloes in the area. So once the buffalo made way for us, we were on our way again. So an hour and a half later, there we are at the entrance of the waterfall. It was very, very cool and pleasant up there. You could be the effect of the trees, the water itself. Superb. There was three dogs that started with us, and finally one of them made it all the way up to the waterfall. After some debate on whether I should get under the water or not, I chose to not get fully under the waterfall, but just get my feet wet in the cool water. I just wasn't in the mood, and I don't know if it had anything to do with the fact that I hadn't really properly started my day in terms of like I hadn't really washed my face or anything. I don't know if that was one of the reasons. I decided to just get my feet wet, and it was really slippery. So all that area was really slippery. It wasn't like high or difficult, but it was tricky. So I went in, got into the water, or got my feet into the water, and then I got one of the guys in my group to help with the filming. But as you can see, pretty much everyone from my group, and then from the second group, and there was also like a family, so they were doing like a family trip. Lots of people were there at that waterfall for good reason. It was so beautiful. I am a big fan of indie travel, but sometimes I just have to join the groups because one is you won't know about these things, like this sort of waterfall in Laos. It's not sort of a world famous thing, and you wouldn't know about it. And the second reason is because, from a safety perspective, uh, you just the whole area was slippery, and if you're not experienced, if you don't know the area, it could be quite dangerous. The third reason is some of these things are so remote that you can't pick them up on Google Maps. And so sometimes having a guide, having a group really does help. And I almost never came to the waterfall, and I have to tell you this story and how money just makes everything work here, or in the world in general, because yesterday as I was trekking up and down the mountain, the guide said to me, "Oh, you don't come to the waterfall, you stay in the village, we'll come collect you, because you won't be able to do it." And to be honest with you, this was so much easier today. Like 90% of it was like relatively flat, was through the rice field, so it was not at all challenging. And I think about 10 to 15 minutes was a little bit slippery, and because it hadn't rained yesterday, it was fine. And so I said to him, "Well, I'm going to go back to the person that I bought from, and I'm going to ask for some of my money back, because after all, I'm not doing part of the trip." And then he didn't say anything. And when we took another break, he said, "Oh, no, maybe you can do it. Maybe I'll help you. No, I want you to see the waterfall." And even today, he said, "No, you absolutely see the waterfall." And if I hadn't said to him about the money, he would have like just left me behind in the village. So I think while it's not good to talk about money all the time, especially when you're doing a trip like this, unfortunately you have to, because otherwise people just take you for a fool, and that's what it is. The guy doesn't care about me, he's doing it for the money. So yeah, it's just a tip, like when you start talking money, people will start behaving themselves, and I just want to share that with you. So on the way back, we spotted these little things, and these are actually offerings that the local people use to keep away bad spirits and to bring in good luck, etc. So the final part of the trip was to go back to Nong Khiaw. So we had a few options. One was to hike back the mountain, which we weren't going to do, and the other option was to go back by boat. So again, we had two options: to just sit in the boat or to kayak. So I chose to sit in the boat mainly because kayaking to me, not successful. I've tried it in the past, and guide also warned me that the current in the river in places can be very strong. So I just thought I was going to take it easy and be safe, and so I just sat in the boat and enjoyed the views. So after that trek, which ended when we got back by boat to Nong Khiaw, I spent another 2 days in the same village. I absolutely loved it. So it was mainly just spending time on that bridge surrounded by mountains. And the other thing I did was walking, a lot of walking around the village itself. And finally, one thing I did pretty much every single day while in Nong Khiaw was the delicious mango milkshake. So in Laos, they do the milkshake with fruit, of course, so fruit of your choice. I loved the mangoes there, and they add condensed milk and a whole ton of ice, which is fantastic for that super heat. That cold, sweet drink was pure magic. I think I had more milkshake than food while I was there. So that brings us to the end of my days in Nong Khiaw. I really hope you enjoyed watching these videos as much as I enjoyed making them. And please do subscribe, because subscription is really essential to keep us going and to continue to share beautiful content with you all. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode.